Italy. The food, the history, and the scams. After we've been living here for about 6 years, we think we've seen pretty much everything that you could imagine. In this video, we want to take you through the craziest scams that we've seen over the years.
So I think the first one and probably the most well-known scam is pickpocketing.
Pickpocketing, for sure. This one is an absolute classic.
We've seen it 2 weeks ago. We were in Venice and we just heard some lady screaming, "Pickpocket!" It's pretty loud. Too.
Yeah, especially in Venice where there's tons of people packed tightly together. And basically the way that these pickpockets tend to work is they work in groups. So they got one of them that's going to distract you while the other one kind of grabs your wallet or something out of your purse. And the only way to really avoid something like that is kind of putting everything in your front pocket. We're from Chicago, so one of the things that we try to make sure is that we never keep money or loose valuables like exposed anywhere.
Don't put anything in your back pocket, not even your receipt. I've seen so many ladies leaving their purses behind them, their backpacks open. Don't do that, especially in dense areas. Backpack in the front, get a fanny pack, put things in your front pocket. There's even purses and bags you can find online that have fake false zippers, so it distracts them. Somebody looks like they're trying to bump into you on purpose. They're trying to get something off of you.
Definitely
because people don't just want to bump into you, especially like if they keep getting a little too close, you know, need my personal space.
Yeah.
So
Italians are stereotypically people that don't understand personal space. They get really close to you when they're talking. Some people might use that as an excuse to try to take money from you.
So this one is going to be difficult, I think, especially for the ladies to listen to, is the fake goods. We all know Italy has some amazing designer brands, but there's also amazing designer fake brands outside. Your Gucci is not gonna cost you $20, your Louis is not gonna cost you $30. One of the problems that a lot of tourists don't realize when you do get a really good deal is it's actually illegal to have fake goods in Italy. Especially if you get busted in the airport, they will take the stuff. And sometimes, if you get them before they have their coffee, they might even fine you. And the fines can be up to, you know, 10,000 euro.
I was gonna say 1,000, honestly, because I thought they were just gonna charge you for what the scam was. Yeah, any big city, especially in Venice, you're gonna find people that have these stalls, big stalls open, and they've got fake, you know, Hermes, fake Louis Vuitton, fake Gucci, especially Gucci. And they're gonna tell you that it comes from the factory, that there's maybe a defect with it or something like that. But let's be realistic. If these guys had real Gucci purses, they wouldn't be leaving them in a stall on the outside and wandering around or leaving them on the ground for anybody to just pick up and take.
Yeah, the most prominent, I think, leather one that I've seen was actually in Florence, outside the big market there. All those things are fake. None of them are made in Italy. If it's too good to be true, it's most likely is.
This is kind of a weird one and is really common in the bigger, more well-known places like Rome or Florence or Milan, where you want to see some kind of a special painting. And it's these sort of skip the line scammers. That's what I call them.
Yeah.
Because they basically are gonna go up to you and tell you, hey, look, we've just got one last ticket left to see.
You're in luck, buddy.
Some famous tourist attraction that's been sold out for weeks. Somehow they have one ticket left and it's just for you, my friend. They're gonna try to sell you this ticket so that when you use it to get into the museum, they're gonna tell you that either the ticket's expired or the QR code doesn't work on it.
We learned this in Milan because we were trying to see The Last Supper. They were like, oh yeah, we just have a few tickets. This guy walked up to us and I just went online because I had a weird gut feeling. You will not be able to get in to see The Last Supper. That needs to be booked, I'm not even exaggerating, 2 months in advance.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So that is probably the craziest thing you'll have to book in Italy because it's a certain amount of people that can go in at a certain amount of time and everything's timed. Book that in advance. There is no skip the line from street people. Usually you can scan a QR code inside the building or by the front of the museum or wherever you're going.
Well, the people who try to sell you those things typically aren't Italian.
Yeah, that's true.
So that just kind of gives away a little bit of a secret there.
They always know that you're speaking English.
They hear you speaking English, they see you with a camera, a backpack, they know right there, that's my sucker.
One of the unfortunate things that I don't like is they don't have Uber here. They only have Uber in Rome and in Milan, and it's the expensive Uber Black. Scams with taxis here are extremely common, especially in Naples, especially in Rome, and in Florence, Bologna, super common. You'll try to get in the car and they'll tell you, oh, the meter's broken or road's closed.
I know a lot of people out there when they travel don't really like Uber. They may want something more authentic to the experience of the place they're traveling in. But one of the benefits of something like Uber is that it gives you a consistent experience across the board. When you're booking your taxi, you know right away that the person's got a rating, they've been verified by Uber, And if anything goes wrong, you can always contact Uber and get your money back. Funny enough, Uber has actually been way more reliable for us in Europe in general than Booking has. Because we've tried to use Booking a couple of times to book cabs, and the guy either doesn't show up or he shows up 35 minutes late. If you have an Uber and you just book it, they're there within 5 minutes. Just be aware of those kind of taxi scams because they're not as common as some of the other ones on this list, but they're definitely ones that are gonna get you.
They'll catch you if you're really early in the morning. They see when you're desperate because they know if you're desperate, you need that cab and you'll probably pay a ridiculous amount of money in order to use their services. And I'm not gonna really recommend any apps because there are apps technically you can use for cabs here, but we haven't had very good luck with them. If you know some that maybe you had good luck with, comment down below, let us know. But so far the ones I've used.
So here's one that we don't see very often because we don't live in a big city here in Italy,
and we don't rent a car.
We don't rent a car either, but fake car crashes. Basically what happens is you're driving along one of the roads and another driver is gonna cut you off and intentionally bump into you. He's gonna get out of the car, seem very frustrated. They're really good actors and pretend like he just wants money and then leave you alone. Otherwise, he's gonna call the police. You're a tourist, so you're obviously freaking out about what to do, and you're more likely just willing to give the guy $40 to leave you alone. But then he's gonna go on and do that to the next person.
Yeah, so there's a fun story that I have to tell. Acquaintance of ours was driving from Florence, and she was driving on the Autostrada, the highway, and all of a sudden a car behind her starts flashing lights, honking and shaking his hand in the mirror, and it's just her husband wasn't there yet, and then like waving her to pull over, and I don't know what told her to pull over. This was outside of Florence. She pulls over to the side, and the guy, and there was a lady also in the car with him, gets out and they start speaking. They knew she spoke English somehow, because I think the rental cars probably tell you it's a rental.
Yeah.
They're trying to say that a rock from when she's driving on the Autostrada hit their windshield, now their windshield's cracked, which their windshield will be cracked, but it's not because of your rock. The thing is, they'll give you all the shit, but they won't call the cops. And as soon as you try to say stop, call the cops, they'll get very defensive. In instances like that, just get in your car and drive away. They're not gonna do anything. Or never pull over in the first place.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest risks worldwide now, is that if you pull over, that's when everything is gonna start going south. So if you know that you didn't do anything wrong and you're pretty sure that these people behind you are just suspicious, just ignore them and keep going. If they're all that concerned about you actually damaging their car, they're gonna call the police and report you.
Yeah.
Obviously they won't do it because they're scammers.
So thankfully, in the recent years in Italy, they've adopted Apple Pay everywhere, and I love that. I hate carrying cash with me, and it's actually illegal in Italy for a business not to accept credit card, but they still do it all the time, especially in big cities because cash is king. And what they will do in a lot of popular places, in a lot of touristy areas, when you're paying cash, they'll actually hand you fake bills and fake coins. Especially the way they will do this with coins, they'll actually just kind of give you a handful of change and just kind of shove it in your pocket and just tell you move on. Oh yeah, they'll get mad at you if you start counting the cash. So try to pay as much as you can in Apple Pay and pay attention to the money you get back. If they start trying to hurry you up, count your change, count your money, because they will even try to give you old lira, the old Italian money from the 90s.
Yeah, from the 90s, because Italy hasn't used a lira since, and I'm pretty sure that currency isn't used anywhere or allowed anywhere.
Maybe
That's,
museum.
Like she said, one of the reasons we love using Apple Pay, Tap to Pay, or something like that, because nobody can really scam you out of that. And if you lose your phone, there's no way anybody can access your credit cards or anything like that. So for us, it's just been a game changer. It wasn't like that when we first came here. You still get places from time to time that'll pretend like the machine is down or they don't have Wi-Fi working and that's why you have to pay in cash. I get it, taxes are really high here. A lot of people are trying to avoid paying as much as possible. But that's one of the reasons why you can avoid that scam, is just by making sure you're counting all the change. This one is probably my favorite because I'm not like a foodie to the level of somebody like a Gordon Ramsay, but one thing I will notice is that this is probably the most common scam you've ever seen. If you're walking past a restaurant and the menu has multiple languages on it, avoid that place. It is a tourist trap. If the restaurant is good, it's going to be good and stands on its own. If it's in a bigger city like Milan or Rome or Florence, they're gonna have menus in English, but a giant menu on the outside of a restaurant is gonna advertise the most generic stuff. French fries and hot dogs and cheeseburgers, and it's gonna be in Italian and English and French and all those other languages. So that right there, total scam. Food's always terrible.
So that's part of the scam. Never go to a restaurant that doesn't have prices on the menu at all.
That's
because
true.
that's a scam, because they're literally going to try to charge you by the weight. Another part of the scam, get the menu in Italian. Even if you don't speak zero Italian, get the menu in Italian, because in the past, there have been a few cases when they would unintentionally give us an English and an Italian menu, and the prices in English will be higher. It won't be ridiculously higher, but you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 euro for each item will add up, especially if you're ordering multiple items.
Yep.
Always, I would recommend get the menu in English.
Card skimming is one of the more common scams worldwide, and it's not completely absent from Italy, especially if you're traveling to bigger cities like Florence, Milan, or Rome. One of the things you're gonna need from time to time is cash to be able to pay for a magnet on the street or something like that in case the vendor doesn't have some sort of tap to pay system. You might want to keep a little bit of cash on you, but of course, if you're going to be getting your cash from really hot spots throughout the city, you have to make sure the ATM doesn't have one of those skimmer things on there. So make sure you kind of jiggle it a little bit or pull on it, because you don't want your credit card to be skimmed. That could be a bad day. And then you're going to be on your trip and you're going to realize that $1,200 was just taken out of your account. And then when you go ahead and lock your card down, now you're gonna be like, oh crap, I can't use that card anymore. You might not have any money if you only have one card.
So to avoid this, I would suggest using ATMs inside of banks. You can go to any bank here in Italy or anywhere else. Go inside. Don't use those street ones, and never ever use the Euronet ones. I have a personal vendetta against those. I hate them. And they're everywhere.
They
never
are.
use them.
And they're probably everywhere for a reason.
That's a scam within itself.
And they're probably gonna have the higher rates.
I think a lot of people are aware of the street scams, and I think Italy probably tops any other country in Europe with the street scams that they have here throughout.
So the first most common street scam that we've seen in Rome are the gladiators. Yeah. These ones are kind of funny because it's very iconic to be in Rome and think of gladiators, especially when you're in or near the Colosseum. Occasionally you'll get these average shaped men who are wearing gladiator outfits and fake swords, and they're wandering around in hot spots because they're intentionally trying to get you to take a picture of the Roman Colosseum with them in the shot, so that they can go up to you and say, hey, you took a photo of me, you need to pay up, right? Obviously you don't need to pay up. Taking photos of people on the street in Italy is legal, so you don't have to pay them anything. They're just trying to pressure you into giving them something for what they're doing. And that's actually the scam and how it works. They're not trying to get you to come up to them, pay them $5 and then take a picture. They're just trying to get you to accidentally take a picture of them with the Colosseum in the background.
Yeah, well, sometimes they'll walk into people's photos. That's the more aggressive side. Usually it's not like that. But a lot of people, you know, they'll come up to them to take pictures with them. But a lot of times these people can be very aggressive because they want to make money. Just something to avoid with that.
That one's especially common in Rome. It's only common in Rome, I think. You're not going to see Venetian gladiators, so.
But the other one's also popular in Rome, the scam. And this one's on the other side of Rome, near the Vatican.
Ah, yeah.
You know about that one?
I don't, actually. You looked it up.
It's a rosary scam. They had something similar in Jerusalem. So they'll have people dressed as like priests or nuns, and they'll come up, and these are not real, and they'll pretend to give you a bracelet or do a prayer for you. You didn't ask for any of this, and then they'll demand money from you, or like a donation or something, like, and they'll try to guilt you in sometimes by saying it's for the church or some monastery or something else. There's a lot of these types of like scams like that where it's a scam that thinks that you're doing something good, but you're not.
Most of the scams on this list play into people's good sensibilities. A lot of the scammers throughout this list are gonna look for people that they think are good people, and they're gonna go, that's my guy or girl right there. Especially with older middle-aged women, that one is really common. Realistically speaking, a priest is not gonna come up to you, give you a random rosary and say a prayer for you. Priests don't do that. Just be aware of that one, especially if you're near the Vatican.
This year, there's gonna be a lot of people for Jubilee. So if you're coming to Rome, do be careful with that. You don't wanna get scammed. You can get a good aperitivo with that money.
This is one of the weirdest ones, I think, because usually if you get busted doing this, you get a long time in jail for it. It's people who dress up as police officers to go up to you and try to inspect your bag or your belongings. They'll probably have 2 or 3 people working in a group like that. One can distract you, the other can take money or something from you without you noticing. If you're a tourist, you don't know what the police uniform looks like in Italy, and you're just gonna be unaware of it. So what are some of the things that you can look out for?
So there'll be like badge numbers and official. I'll put up some pictures.
Missing badge numbers.
Yeah, there's no badge numbers. And also like the way the person will look, will look out of place.
They don't look like a cop. They don't look like they have a sense of authority.
They also look nervous, or they're very aggressive. Like cops here, I don't think I've ever seen Italian cops or the Carabinieri be aggressive in any shape, form, anywhere. Like they pull you over sometimes just to do inspections, and they're actually super nice. So cops will never here be like super nice or super angry and demanding of you. The way this is, it's a scam is usually this will be in areas near the train station. So it'll be near like areas where you're either coming or going, so they know you're either in a hurry, so you won't like again, it's like in the passing in the transit area. This is not going to be like in the center of Florence.
Right.
This is going to be maybe like near airports even, or like near areas where there's a lot of foot traffic, a lot of people waiting, coming and going. So it's just, again, I'm gonna put up some pictures how the cops are supposed to look and like their badge numbers. You can also question them. You don't have to blindly answer yes to everything. Be respectful, but you can ask your rights, ask these things. You still have rights here, even though you are a tourist. You don't need to just open your bags and your wallet. Don't do that. I think we talked earlier about using your credit card as much as possible. One of my recommendations is to get a credit card that has no international fees. Chase has them, Amex has them, I think MasterCard has them. Get one and use that as much as possible, and always pay in local currency, because your bank will do the best exchange rate possible. If you come to Italy, pay in euro. Do not pay in dollars, because you will get scammed.
Well, it's a small, subtle scam, but it'll add up, right? Always pay in the local currency, because you're always going to get the best rate. Your bank will do a better job converting the currency for you. The other type of currency exchange that you have to worry about are the actual kiosks, where people will ask you to exchange money. The way that this works is that you're going to see one of these vendors on the outside. You're going to go inside and you think, I have $50 on me. I'm going to exchange that for 50 euros, for example. But you don't realize you're probably going to get the worst exchange rate possible and end up getting something like $35 or $40 when you should be getting more. If you're on vacation with your family, that's gonna add up. So we say use your card on your phone if possible, and avoid exchanging money at all.
Yeah, you pay as much as you can, and if you do have to take out cash, go to a proper Italian bank, go inside there to take out the money. That way there's no skimmers, and you're gonna decline the conversion and let your bank do the conversion, because if you accept the conversion, you're letting the Italian bank do the conversion, you're not going to get as much euro as you should. If you're taking out $100 or whatever, it's going to add up.
Yeah.
So again, use for paying in credit card, local currency. When you're taking out cash at a bank, decline conversion, let your bank do the conversion. I think those are like the biggest things with money to take. But I think overall, when you come to Italy, don't be nervous. This seems maybe overwhelming. There's a lot of scams. It's like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? Should I even come to Italy? Come to Italy, it's beautiful, it's delicious. The people are really friendly. Don't let the stuff you see online fool you.
So, general rule of thumb with any of these things on this list is if it's too good to be true, it probably is. If you know about any other scams that we didn't add in this list, comment them in the comment section down below so that people can look through these before they're going on their trip and make sure that they're as prepared as possible.
Well, I'm just going to add in the end of the video if the people are watching. There's always going to be people that are going to comment and say we're wrong about something. These are literally all 11 of these are experiences we've had. I don't know if I'm wrong about my life, but there's always going to be those people.
Yeah, some of them are more common than others. And a lot of people think that just because they haven't experienced them personally, they don't exist.
Good for you.
Definitely, yeah.
Come to Italy and you'll have a great time.
Ciao.
Ciao.